Ladies and gentlemen, we are descending now onto the beaches of France once more as we prepare to get underway for the third race of X3's sixth season for the Extreme Racing Leagues. I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insane Leader 13. I'm joined once more by good co-host, good friend, and a France native, PZ Frenchman. PZ, it's great to have you here. Going to be broadcasting your home track. What can we be looking forward to today, in your opinion?
Well, I would say probably in my opinion, that is the most visually appealing track, probably next to Spa, because Spa has a lot of elevation, but the blue and red thing all around the track, visually appealing. It's the other way around proportionally when we're discussing about the overall quality of racing, especially among the fans. But it's down to you, it's only opinion. Track located in southeastern France, not really my hometown track, that would be Dijon-Prenois for myself. But still, south of France, so on the Euro coast, low risks of rain, doesn't mean it cannot happen. 15 turns, 6 left, 9 rights for 5.842 kilometers or 3.63 miles of racetrack. The RL lap record is a 1:28.319, courtesy of Sir Lewis Hamilton during the qualifications of the 2019 edition.
It's been a little while, obviously, since 2019. Lots of changes have happened in the cars between then and 2021. Most notably, obviously, massive changes with the floor. They really peeled back what you could do with the floor for the 2021 regs in an attempt to keep the cars a little slower, so that way the rubber that Pirelli was using for the tires didn't have to go through another massive upgrade from year on year, because we knew Pirelli, they suffered bad in 2020. The entire pandemic, it really caught them off guard, and they were hurting for making good tires in 2021. So that's kind of one of those interesting things to consider going from 19 to 21 and why that is still the lap record that holds up. The first two cars to get onto the circuit in this session has been XR Veloce and Plastic Love in the Williams and the Aston Martin respectively. 17 drivers descending onto the track in today's race. So with that in mind, that means that 15 will advance, so 2 drivers will not make it out of Q1. I talked to a lot of drivers earlier today. They all were very, very concerned about the threat of rain in today's event.
Well, as I said, rain can happen, and it's gonna mix up things really, really well, since you do not expect a lot of elevation changes around this track, but there is, especially in turn 1, and turn 1 and 2, and also turn 11, and basically the last sector of the track. So it might caught off guard a couple of people around the track.
Alright, so one other thing to kind of consider though with this circuit, you have this giant inland island of trees, almost like a miniature forest kind of back there. And there's a Haas that has gone off. That would be Collie Boy, who has had a spin coming out of turn 2. But as I was going to say, you have that giant infield island. But other than that, and the pit and the walls on the front straightaway, there's not really a whole lot to hit on this circuit. You can have a lot of spins or instants, but you're not likely to totally DNF and wreck the car unless you have like a total disconnect. In fact, it gets so significant here. Just a few weeks ago in the Realistic Series, the series ran here, and it was green flag all the way through, except for a very short VSC early on in the event. We ran a full-length race here, completely under green flag conditions. Aside from that, it's not going to be hard to see this race go to the end, possibly without a yellow flag, just because there's so much runoff and it's so hard to, total the car.
I mean, it's as much as a pro. It's as much of a pro as it is a con to this track. It's really, really forgiving, so anyone can have a shot at staying around through the whole race. But as a spectator, you also want to see a track that is really difficult to master and try to catch the driver that will make a mistake and possibly DNF out of it. I can understand the feeling, but the other way around, a really forgiving track, it can be loved by a lot of drivers. just not to wreck a multi-million-dollar car.
Yeah. Yeah, from this perspective of the teams and team owners, oh yeah, this is great. They're fine running here. If they had to do a Formula E and run 6 straight races here on different layouts each time, they'd be fine, because that means their cars are likely going to make it to the end each time. For those of us watching, not really.
And just like I said, I understand the point of view, but that is really it.
Alright, so at this point, we have 6 drivers who have set times. XR Augusti is at the top with a 30.623. XR Veloce is second with 30.640. Sixth on the timesheet is Wild Nissan GTR with a 32.324. So it still is early in the session, but a pretty significant spread amongst the drivers who have set times at this point. CKS Dark Riders in the middle of a lap, as is Herbago. Herbago actually invalidated his first lap and came almost to a dead stop in Sector 3. The fuel light's flashing very aggressively on that McLaren. I have to wonder if they're going to consider aborting this lap just so they can guarantee he'll make it into the pits.
And JR Football just clocking a lap at 131.174. Before that, still a huge gap between first and second and the rest of the field, already over half a second. Still have 2 guys crazy fast around here.
I imagine that's probably going to change to 3 guys crazy fast because Extra Jigsaw's in the middle of the lap right now.
Oh.
Herbago goes to the top, 130.378 in the McLaren. Outstanding job there.
Extreme F1 just slotting in second with a 134.73.
I guess the pace here for this race is going to be a lot higher than I was anticipating. I was honestly not expecting very many guys to be hitting the 130s, especially this early in qualifying, but already 4 drivers there, and GR Footballer is not that far off from that same point either.
I mean, if my memory is correct, the 10 drivers that have posted a lap have posted a lap faster than the fastest lap in race in real life, which, if I remember correctly, was Sebastian Vettel back in 2019 with a 132.74. So we already have some decent lap times around, which is nice to see. More than 2 people below the 131s. Nice to see again. But still, the other half of the field that will have to post a lap.
Right now, Dave Ewart and XRO Jigsaw both in the middle of circuits. Jigsaw invalidated his prior attempt, so he's going at it again. Dave Ewart and that Haas trying to make something happen right now as he is navigating his way through Sector 3. That's Herbago, who is running extremely slow and bringing out regional yellow flags in that sector, but he should be coming into pit lane now.
I also remember in 2018 where the entry of the pit lane was right after the last turn. Really nice change to have put between 14 and 15. Dave Ewart 9th in the grid, 131.608. Probably another safe move from the FIA to put the entry of pit lane somewhere else.
Yeah, normally I'd give the FAA a lot of crap for stuff, but that's one thing I'll give them credit for. So we're gonna go ahead and ride silent for a lap on board with XRO Veloces. He's going out for another circuit. Let's see if he can go any faster than the Williams as we ride on board silently for him here at France. Well, that lap really did not go as well for Veloce as he imagined, as Jigsaw now goes to the top with a 30.214. Veloce really taking some aggressive lines out there, and that is Schumacher SF7, who's come to us almost a dead stop in Sector 3 there. Wonder what's happened there.
Probably low on
And
fuel?
Veloce retires in the... No, he's on an out lap, and it says that he's good on fuel. There wasn't anyone around him, so I wonder what was going on there. But while I was riding on board Veloce, there is a lot of confidence, almost excessive confidence with the car. He's really taking advantage of all the runoff. I saw at least 4 different scenarios where I'm like, surely the game's going to invalidate him. It never did. He really seems to have the track limits properly laid out and understands where the track is going to penalize him or not penalize him for cutting at. And although he was down on time by the end of the second sector, there is so much potential at the lap that he had. Yeah, he's only 5th now, but I imagine when we get to the final round of qualifying, he will probably be up in the fight for pole again. That is Constant Jet, who has just gotten a toe off of his teammate Jigsaw, and Jigsaw then moved out of the way, coming into the... Name of that backstretch chicane. 1 second.
The Mistral
I don't want
Straight.
to screw this up. Well, I mean the chicane's name.
Oh, you mean the backstretch again? Yeah,
I want to call it Montreal, but I don't think that's its actual name.
Yeah, you're right. This is the Montreal chicane. This is the Montreal chicane.
So if I was honestly afraid that I'd be butchering something, but yeah, Jigsaw gave Constant Jet a draft all the way down, and then pulled off, blew the chicane, came to a stop at it, so that way Constant can get by. Constant now puts on the time sheets a 131.392. That is good enough for 10th fastest right now. As it stands, 15 of our 17 drivers have set times.
Across the line, it's a 139.98, enough for 6th.
So at this moment, Plastic Love is on the bubble. Wild Nissan GTR in the Red Bull. He is on the outside looking in. He just completed a lap that was slower. He was up by a small amount, not enough to get him ahead in Sector 2, but then lost time in Sector 3, and he spins around coming out of 2 now. Thankfully, no one else on the track with him right now, but I think with that spin, he'll probably consider coming in and throw out another set of tires. Nissan's teammate, XO Flavor, has yet to come out onto the racetrack, and as I say that, he is actually making his way down pit lane right now. Next driver to come to the line by the looks of it will be Constant Jet, although I think he is on a cooldown lap right now.
Looking at the cornering speed, he's on either a cooldown lap.
He doesn't have the fuel to go for another circuit, so yeah, I think he's definitely on a cooldown lap. So the focus then goes to Extra Snake behind him, but Snake also low on fuel will likely be bringing it in.
So maybe
then the focus nope, Collie Boy brings it in as well.
Damn, other people bring it in.
Schumacher
goes again.
Yeah, but I think this was a cooldown lap, and now he's going to lay onto it again because he's charged his DRS to about 90% coming out of the final corner. So he's going to go again here.
But still, for it's a really fast cooldown lap, if you ask me. Only 4 seconds down this time.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting because he's on his 3rd lap on these soft tire compounds. They're just a little bit past their peak, but he has the ability now to really lay on the ERS. And there's absolutely no one ahead of him right now, so I don't know. Just about 4 minutes left in the session. I think if you're in a time within the 130s right now, you are safe. You don't have to worry about getting squeezed out. But if you look at the spread from 7th to 16th right now, they're separated by only a second. You know, you get Dave Ewart, Plastic Love, Nissan, or Flavor, giving them a good lap or two. That could really shake up the drivers that do or don't make it right now.
I'd say if you post a lap below 131s and a half, you should be safe. But yet again, people are probably gonna go out again and try to secure their positions or try to climb up the order before Q2. As XR Flavors is now on first lap of Q1.
All right, Schumacher coming to the line. How much does he improve? The answer, he actually fell on time. So I think the tires had kind of peaked already. And yes, he may have more speed in the straights, but losing the grip in the corners kind of hurts him a bit. But again, he's 6th fastest right now. I think he's fine. The real driver to watch, like you said, Flavor. Flavor had kind of made a history for himself of not being greatest at qualifying. There is a Mercedes that is dead stopped in Sector 1. That is Snake. He's finally moving now. Flavor had kind of established a reputation of himself of not being a great qualifier. And he's, over the last month or so, he's really turned that around. Now Q2 appearances for him have kind of become commonplace. Down the straight for Flavor in the Red Bull. Across the line with a 1:31.647. That's only 16th right now.
Not looking too good. Which is kind of a shame.
Jet retires in the pits. Yeah, this could be interesting. We could see both Red Bulls knocked out in Q1 right now. Dave Ewart is on an invalid lap right now. Plastic Love has invalidated this lap, as has Fratters, as has Collie Boy. So Flavor does have this extra time that he can go for another circuit. But again, question is, how much have the tires fallen off? And then also his teammate, Wild Nissan GTR, he's in the middle of a lap right now. Flavor only needs to improve by about 35 thousandths in order to squeeze Dave out. But again, Nissan's there. Nissan could really, really upset stuff. The Ferraris of Schumacher and CKS Darkrider have both retired in the pits as well. So a lot of drivers saying, okay, I'm good with my lap, I'm confident, I'm not worried about squeezing out, and they're stepping out now, but...
Ooh. Fratters invalidating his lap, going too wide on 11.
Another Mercedes incident in Sector 3, that is Snake again. Alright, last corners for XRL Flavor. Is he up by enough? He's almost totally out of ERS. Coming to the line now.
10% should be enough for the line. It's gonna be a little too short.
Yeah, he's down by 3/10. He's already knocked the best off those tires. And Nissan's invalidated. It's looking very much like they're just not going to get either of the Red Bulls into the next round qualifying.
Next man up the line is XR Augusti. Doesn't improve. Still fourth.
Dave Ewart is in the middle of a lap right now. He is still on the bubble. And it says, at least on my screen, it says that he has been on these tires for 4 laps. I think this is well, he's up on time despite being on very worn tires. He is up by a bit over a quarter of a second right now.
This is what happened when you find out you can take turn probably like a gear up or a gear down. You probably found a new way to take a corner. This is the only way for me to explain how he gained 2/10 out of the blue, just like this.
Mm-hmm.
But this might be.
Well, did he maintain
solid.
it out of Sector 3? That's the real question. As the time's up in the session, at the line for Dave Ewart.
This should be looking good. Yes, it does.
Now, he lost it all in Sector 3, so I think you're probably right. He probably found a way to gain time in Sector 1 or 2, but because Sector 3 is so tire and downforce sensitive, the fact that the tires were on their 5th lap of wear, he kind of lost it all because of that. Flavor has come to almost a dead stop there in Sector 3 on his cooldown lap. So yeah, neither of the Red Bulls will advance to the next round.
Will Gusty improve? Oh. I mean, he's been out with these tires for like, what, 3-4 laps?
Yeah.
But wasn't expecting a lot. From this last lap. And I believe that will dictate I was about to say Q3. That will dictate Q1.
All right, so now we look at the lineup for the drivers that do advance. XO Jigsaw, unsurprisingly, on the top with a 130.214, followed by Herbago in the McLaren with a 30.378. Extreme F1 in the Alpine, Gusty in the Alfa Romeo, XO Veloci in the Williams, Schumacher SF7 in the Ferrari, Snake in the Mercedes, DR Footballer in the Williams, aka Herbie in the Acid, CKS Dark Rider in the Ferrari, Constant Jet in the AlphaTauri, Collie Boy in the Haas, Fratters in the Mercedes, Plastic Love in the Aston Martin, and Dave Ewart in the Haas. Neither Red Bull driver advanced to the next round. It's going to be really difficult for them to make their way up the grid.
So we can only hope for them to grab a couple, or try to climb their way during the race and bring back some points, at least for the Constructors Championship.
It is still relatively early in the season, but it's also a very short season, only about 13 races this year, which could really, really randomize the way things go. When it comes to, as the season goes on, one bad result now has a much bigger effect than it would over a 20-race season. Alright, so right at the start, Extreme F1, aka Herbie, and Herbago all are committing to medium tires right away. I'm going to be honest, I think we're probably going to see another session where everyone ends up being on softs by the end of Q2. I could be wrong. We might see someone like Jigsaw maybe squeeze in on mediums, but I think most of the drivers are going to be on softs by the end of this session. All right, and coming to the party right now is Wild Nissan GTR. Nissan, an absolutely atrocious run in Q3 for the Red Bull team. Do you guys have any strategy to try and make it back up into the points in the race itself?
I hope so. I don't know what really happened in qualifying, to be honest.
Alright. Well, I guess the bigger question, do you have a strategy to get back up to the grid right now?
I do, yeah. Go soft hard.
Oh, okay, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, one stop. Try and do a one stop, hopefully that'll bring us to get some points in the top 10.
Alright, well, we'll definitely keep an eye on you guys then. Hopefully you can turn a bad starting position to a good points-paying day today. Good luck, mate.
Cheers. Thanks.
Alright, so now we focus on AK Herbie. He is going to be the first driver to cross the line to set the lap that everyone else is going to chase. Herbie right now, medium rubber equipped on that machine.
Only 3 drivers so far on the mediums: Extreme F1, AKRB, and Rubago.
Do you have your thing set to best or just tire? Because if it's set to tire, it should show something like 7 drivers on mediums. Or 6 drivers on mediums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My bad, everyone.
I mean, it happens. I get caught off by that kind of thing a lot also. And Herbie invalidates in the 5th corner. So he'll pull off for the moment, and now the priority goes to Herbago and Schumacher SF7. Schumacher on the softs, Herbago on the mediums. And Herbago's just close enough to the Ferrari that he could actually get a draft off of him down the straight. Now, you're not supposed to be giving a draft to following cars if they're not your teammate in this series, but there's nothing said about you getting a draft off of someone else if you're just that good in pace and you timed it well enough. It's kind of a weird gray loophole in the rules, but it's definitely one that Herbago's taking advantage of right now.
And this is really a great advantage for Herbago since he is doing his lap on medium compound. So that kind of nullifies the thing.
I don't think Schumacher is going to be very happy with that.
I can probably say both of them won't be happy with that. But as we saw,
Herbago had to take a actual race.
As we saw in Q1, Herbago has the base advantage. So.
But did that overtake that he felt forced to take? Will that neutralize that pace advantage?
Oh, that will cost them some time.
131.582. Schumacher 133.763.
We've
Yeah, we know they can both go faster.
We've seen low 40. We've seen low 40s, low 30s. So
Yeah, Schumacher
wasn't
really not
really-
happy. He buzzes really close to that McLaren and cuts right in front of him afterwards. So yeah, definitely some displeasure from the Ferrari team to the McLaren team right now.
So next
Well, JR
one.
Footballer has now go up to second with a 32.240. Right now, though, Herbago's time on the mediums at 31.542. Fastest now on the top of the timesheets, though I imagine that will change sooner rather than later. We now see the Mercedes crossing the line to start their laps. The next driver, though, to get a lap in, by the looks of
Veloce.
it, will be...
It's Veloce.
Yeah.
He is in T15. Down the straight.
Ooh, kind of a
Ooh.
twitch over the curbs.
You could feel the plank rubbing on the rumble strips. That's a 31.219.
Fastest of the soft tire compounds now, and now we see that's Extreme F1, who has just gone up to second on the mediums, 131.493. Now the focus goes to Jigsaw as he crosses the line to begin a flying lap of his own. Fastest in the Q1, will he maintain that in Q2? He is on the soft tire compound, so he's not playing around. He wants to guarantee his position. He's not too worried about starting on medium rubber, apparently. Herbie on the medium rubber has invalidated this lap. But he's taking this time to charge his ERS back up to full, and he'll be a little bit lighter on fuel than he was earlier, and the mediums don't fall off quite as fast as the soft, so he might be able to turn this into something good.
GR Football is trying to improve on this lap. What's it going to look like? He does improve, but do not move up.
Dave Ewart is in the middle of a lap, but he had a really, really bad twitch as he ran over the curbs out of the final corner. 131.325. He honestly probably could have been in the 131.1s if not for that big hiccup they had in the final corner. Now it looks like Dave's going to is considering going for another flyer here. He's up on time. Yeah, I think Dave's going to try and go for another flyer. He's got the fuel for it. I think he has the tires for it, and he definitely has the ERS.
If it's a fresh set of tires, yeah, they're 2 laps old.
Does he maintain the speed in Sector 2? Again, Sector 3, though, is where you really have
Looks
the
like
biggest gain or
End of
lose.
Sector 2, a
Yeah,
third
he's
of a
up.
second up. This is
Ooh,
looking
this could
good
get
so
good.
far.
Dave might break into the 130s.
Ooh, really sending it inside.
Yeah, that's a big diamonding for that corner. Final 2 corners now.
Ooh, really opening for 15.
And he'll have just enough
This is
ERS
looking
to the
good.
line as well. Davey Wharton the Haas at the line. It will be a 130.738. Puts him right on the top of the timesheets by almost half a second over Veloce. Alright, and now here comes the Mercedes. Fratters coming across the line. He's invalidated this lap though, but his teammate Snake on the mediums has jumped up to 632.275 at the moment.
Gusty, new fastest lap, 133.36.
McLaren around. That's Herbago's had a spin on his out lap. I don't think he's too worried about though.
Next one crossing the line will be Jigsaw. He is exiting 15.
Jigsaw invalidated his first lap, so what can he do on this second lap? Well, the answer as he crosses the line, 130.778. That's good enough for third at the moment. Plastic Love did not get a valid lap in that last time, so he's going for it again.
I believe that
The
is
same set of soft tires.
I believe it was the second lap on the big slide on the inside of T1. I believe that is the second lap that he did that was not valid. Or maybe it's just me.
Right now, as it stands, CKS Dark Rider. Oh, and Plastic's around just before getting onto the back straightaway. So yeah, I think Plastic's burned all the best off that set of rubber now. Veloce retires. He is confident with that 31.2. That's a bold strategy. Let's see how that plays out. But yeah, right now as it stands, CKS Dark Rider in the Ferrari is 10th. He has gone onto another set of mediums to try and improve, and his teammate Schumacher is on the outside looking in, as is Fratters in the Mercedes. It'll be a little bit of time until we see a new driver put a lap
Dark
up.
Rider's going on a new lap. He is 0.6 seconds up on his own time. This is looking really good for the Ferrari driver. As he enters the Montreal chicane.
At the end of Sector 2, he is up by over 3/4 of a second. This could be massive!
Might be able to go and take all the guys up.
And he's doing this on medium rubber. That's the impressive thing.
Might be able to place either 6th or 7th.
His teammate Schumacher SS7 is about to cross the line as well. Schumacher jumps up to 8th with 31.9. What can Dark Rider do? Very smooth, a little slow, but smooth exit out of the final corner.
This is really, really good for the Ferrari driver.
5th fastest of everyone on the mediums at this point.
Up by a full second. Absolute
So
animal.
now it's gone from, instead of the Ferraris being on the hot seat, is now the Mercedes team's on the hot seat with Snake in 10th and Fratters 12th on the outside looking in. Collie Boy in the Haas is in the middle of a lap right now, and he is trying to set his lap in on the mediums. We have 4 minutes left in the session. I think CKS Dark Rider is safe. Herbago, a little bit more iffy for Schumacher. I think he needs to find a lot more time because he's 9th right now, and there are still 3 drivers who have not yet set times.
Too bad for Herbago. That's an unvalid lap. He was up to 10th.
Collie Boy's teammate Dave Ewart has the 2nd fastest time on the sheets right now, but that's on soft rubber. Assuming that Collie and Dave's pace are comparable, we can get a good idea as to what the difference is between soft and mediums on a push lap around here. As Collie crosses the line, 131.808, that's good enough for 8th, so now Snake is outside, Schumacher back on the bubble.
Is he going for another lap?
He's on a cooldown lap right now, he was recharging his ERS. What about Constant Jet? Jet had a great toe off of his teammate Jigsaw in Q1. Not a factor for him this time. He's kind of on his own. Last week was an absolutely outstanding drive for Constant Jet. Everyone says, oh yeah, Jigsaw is one of the best drivers here, and Constant Jet outpointed him and was running on merit in the top 8 pretty much all day last week. It was a great career-defining moment for Constant Jet. He crosses the line, 130.932. That's up there with his teammate.
Critically, that pushes Schumacher down the bubble. And now both Mercedes and Aston Martins are actually out.
Schumacher trying desperately to find a little bit of extra time. He goes through the Montreal chicane on the back straightaway now.
Wiggle on the exit.
Yeah, that car looks a little bit twitchy and evil on him, but he's up, but only by about 0.2.
That would be enough. That would be enough for 9th.
Yeah, but that's assuming that the drivers below don't make massive changes. And look above, 9th, Collie Boy, 131.808. JR Footballer in 10th, 131.809. So it's really, really close there as well. I think Schumacher's going to have enough fuel. If he wants to, he might go for another lap. And the medium tires will definitely hold up for it.
Yeah, but the ERS will say otherwise. I believe this is one and only shot.
9th, 131.644. So now Footballer is out. Collie Boy is on the bubble. Again, I think Schumacher will probably consider going for another lap. Collie Boy retires in the pit lane.
really bold move from the Haas that is on the bubble.
One thing to consider, though, for Schumacher, he's sending all these laps on medium tires, but this is going to further eat away at what he
Irby
can
is up
do.
a third of a second on his time. This might be able to maybe overlap the Mercedes of Snake.
Schumacher is up by fractions of a second at the end of Sector 1. What about the end of Sector 2?
Fratters gets out of the bubble, pushes Kelly Boy down the order.
Schumacher said purple Sector 2, so Schumacher's still going faster right now.
AKRB, does he improve? Yes, but not enough for another spot.
Classic Love has yet to set a time. He is going to be the next driver to cross the line here, and we are almost out of time in this session. Plastic, I think, will make it to the line with just enough. No, Plastic's invalidated this lap, so he has one last shot. He needs to rush to the line and then rush to get this in. Plastic Love could be the wild card that throws Schumacher out. Schumacher did not improve. He actually lost time in the final sector. So Schumacher versus Plastic Love for the final spot right now. And Herbie could be the wild card because he is up by almost a quarter of a second at the end of Sector 1 alone. And he invalidates.
A little too greedy on the entry of turn 8.
In Q1, it was the Red Bulls that did not advance. In Q2, it looks like it might be the Aston Martins. Plastic Love needs to pull out a mega single great lap here if he wants a shot in. Fratters jumps up to 6th now with a 31.319. Right now, 7th through 10th have all set their times on medium rubber. So that could be interesting. That would mean that 4 of our top 10 stars would be starting on mediums instead of softs, but that's assuming that Plastic doesn't squeeze Schumacher out. Final corner for Plastic Love. Is he in or is he out?
Oh, this is looking decent. Wiggle on the exit. They're not open enough. Yes, it is.
He's in! And Schumacher's out! Plastic Love is in! 31.449! So CKS Dark Rider Extreme F1 and Herbaga will be the only drivers starting the race on the medium rubber in the top 10. And that'll be frustration for Schumacher, without a doubt.
Really solid nerve out of Plastic Love to just post one lap at the end of the session and just slot in for Q3.
Well, the drivers that advance, Gusty in the Alpha, Dave in the Haas. Real quickly coming in the party is Schumacher SF7. Schumacher, go ahead and include your audio. You had a decent lap in on the medium rubber, but in the end, at the last possible moment, you get squeezed out. What happened out there? Could you have maybe gone another faster lap or what?
Oh, I could definitely go quicker. Just the car didn't want to do it, so nothing you can do if the car don't want to behave itself and do what you tell it to do. But I could easily have been a bit faster, but probably 3-4 attempts if I didn't mess up my first lap. But I got a car blocking me on my first medium run, so going onto pit lane of the exit. So he even blocked my usual sweeping line, so I couldn't do my normal line. So now it's just starting P. It's not bad starting in that current position. So in P11, just keep my nose clean and do a strategy that could win. So.
All right. Well, good luck, mate. It's a
Yes,
shame to see you out in Q2, but maybe you'll turn things around in the race. All right. First driver to get out of the pit box right now is Extreme F1 in the Alpine. 10 drivers going out for it. I honestly think it's going to be a showdown between Jigsaw and Veloce. The interesting thing with Veloce, though, is that he has set laps, but his laps have just basically been banker. He goes out and gets a lap done really early and then retires. That's let him save a lot of tires for this final round of qualifying, but it's also really hidden what his actual single lap pace could be here.
I mean, he is probably conserving all of his energy and focus solely for Q3, which is a strategy in its own. So we might be looking at Veloce posting a couple of laps instead of just one, or maybe we'll post probably the lap of the gods and just retire. But very unlikely to happen. My dark horse for Q3 would be Dave Ewart, as it looks like he has found his lane around the track. So keep an eye on him.
But right now, my eyes are on Extreme F1 in the Alpine. He will be the first one to come to the line to get a lap in. At the moment, 6 of our 10 drivers are on track, and I see 2 more. That would be Constant Jet and Fratters making their way down pit lane right now. CKS Dark Rider waited a long time to get out into the track, but because of that, he now has clean sector. That sector 2 is basically all his own right now, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do with purely clean track. On the other hand, though, we have an AlphaTauri that is XRO Jigsaw and Herbago kind of all hung up all over each other, as with Gusty, so that could get a little bit frustrating for them, to say the least.
My only wish is for the race at Monza and not having, how can I say this joke of a qualifying session as we've had those last couple of years. The drafting
I won't lie. It's a joke, but I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your point of view. For me, it's a complete disgrace.
Oh no, I agree. It's an absolute disgrace, but it's also hilarious because the worst thing is, you know, NASCAR had the same stupid stuff happen in 2019 when they took out all that big amount of power and threw on a bunch of extra downforce, and basically for 2 months straight, every single NASCAR qualifying session was like that. And Formula One, we kind of looked across the ocean and were like, haha, that could never happen to us.
Fast forward to 2019.
Yeah.
And stuff happens again. But yeah, for me that was a complete, probably a way to bring the sport into disrepute that I would not have seen before, probably after. I don't know. We still have to see what will happen this season in Monza with the new cars, and lap everyone will be chasing is a 1:30.074. I believe this is the fastest lap we've seen, and now 30.003 by Veloce.
Oh, are 29s in the cards? Could 29s be in the cards?
Yes, it is. Jigsaw,
yes, they are.
29.592.
Ooh, that will be hard for anyone to touch right now. Next driver to cross the line will be CKS Dark Rider. I will say this, before we get to Monza, we have Canada, Montreal, Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve to race at before that. And that circuit is kind of similar to Monza. It's a little bit more acceleration focused than pure top speed focus. I imagine that we could see that same kind of shenanigans happening at Monza with everyone trying to focus on getting great drafts, because Sector 3 is so important to get a good toe off of, assuming you can control your car through the Wall of Champions chicane. Alright, Dark Rider, 6 with a 30.692. Now the focus goes to Fratters, who's invalidated his lap, and Constantine, who has also invalidated his lap.
I mean, the thing that could hold back the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve as having the same kind of shenanigans that happens in Monza is, well, Monza is, I'd say 75 to 80% straight lines. I mean, yes, there's couple of turns. The Parabolica is still a really fast curve. The fast 2 chicanes and all this, but the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is, I'd say, 40 to 50% straight line speed. There's only, let's say, the front stretch and the back stretch before and after the Wall of Champions chicane. But when you look at the middle section of the track, yes, it is fast, but you still need to have a little bit more downforce than you think you need.
But again, we are running different set of regulations, though. You can get a little bit more downforce from the underbody of the car And henceforth, if you're set up well enough, you know, get a good draft down the straights. I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying that I think we could see the same shenanigans we see at Monza for the last few years. I really honestly do think we're probably going to see something on that same line, at least at Montreal this year. I'm not saying it will happen, but I would put money that will probably happen to some extent.
Yeah, to some extent, but not the extreme case, not the extreme cases we've had in Monza.
Oh wow! Plastic Love invalidates. Was really attacked the second corner and in the process invalidated. That's not going to go great for him. Dave Ewart now out in the middle of his lap. We're already halfway through the session. Only 6 drivers have set times thus far, and everyone, with the exception of Dave Ewart, is either on pit load or on an invalid lap. Well, as I say that, Herbago is now beginning to come out onto the circuit.
I mean, only 5 minutes left, so... Dave Ewart invalidates his lap in the Montreal chicane.
So now the focus goes to Plastic Love. If Plastic's been good enough with preserving the tires and the fuel, he might go for another flyer here. I guess to a lesser extent that's still true with Dave Ewart. Also, Herbago and Gusty both out on circuits trying to do outlaps. Nope, Plastic's going to say, yeah, not worth it, he's coming in. But again, with 4 minutes left, at this point, at least personally, only 6 drivers have set times. I'd rather have a banker lap in than be trying to shoot really hard for a perfect lap.
I mean, Veloce probably can do that. And with all the sets of tires he saved during Q1 and Q2, and Davey Ward goes at it again.
Alright, Dave still seems to have this lap together this time. He's still clean. 50.036 at the end of Sector 2 right now. Gusty is still on an outlap and Herbago's in the middle of his. As I say that, Gusty's coming out of the final corner and will start his flyer shortly here. The top 3 though, Jigsaw, Veloce, Extreme F1, all still in pit lane, and they might not try and come out into the circuit. I think the top 3 might feel confident enough with their times and feel confident enough with starting in those positions, they may not risk it.
I mean, your provisional pole sitter, Jigsaw, is probably clear of any problems so far.
Well, as I say that, I see a AlphaTauri coming out of pit lane. That would be Jigsaw, so Jigsaw wants to go faster. At the line for Dave Ewart, he will finally set a time, 1:30.370. That's good enough for 4th. Frater is now beginning his lap, trying to be the 8th driver to set a time in the session.
And
Herbago has jumped up. Herbago up to 2nd now, 1:29.768. That's the closest we've seen anyone get to Jigsaw's time. But should they be concerned? Because Jigsaw's going to go out for another shot at it. Alright, now we see Veloce and Extreme F1 making their way down pit lane. So it looks like everyone's going to try and make one last shot at this. I don't know if Extreme F1 has gotten onto the track fast enough, though, to get a lap in. It'll be close for him.
I mean, they'll have to take the lap at quality pace if they want to bank
Fratters invalidates going into the Montreal chicane.
They'll have one more shot at it, but only one.
Constant Jet in the middle of his lap right now.
Gusty Walcross-Lonnie was up a 10th at the end of Sector 2. And yes, he does improve. He goes 5th fastest, 1:30.148.
So 2 drivers in the 129 range, and the spread from top to bottom right now is about 1.1. It's exactly 1.1 seconds, actually. Constant Jet trying to be the 8th driver to set time in the session, flying down the back straightaway. Now he needs to chuck that AlphaTauri into the Noville chicane perfectly.
Jigsaw will have Fratters in front of him, as both of them are posting another lap.
In the last 40 seconds of the session, Herbago is coming into the pits, as is Dave Ewart. They're both like, look, we don't have the tires or the fuel to go again. We'll just retire in the pits right now. Veloce's made it to the line. Can Extreme F1 make it to the line in time to get a lap in?
Jigsaw Sector 1, he's at .013 on his lap. That is not much, but it is still an improvement.
Constant Jet coming to the line as the session comes to a close. Time's up. Over. Plow. Constant Jet 130.530. Plastic Glove through the final corners.
Jigsaw almost up at 10th. Just shy of a 10th up his own time. He's still finding...
Plastic Glove just could not keep that lap together at all. 131.504. Fratters will be the next one to the line. And behind him, Jigsaw, the man who has set the fastest time thus far. Jigsaw has actually closed in on Fratters over the course of this lap. This might harm Jigsaw's run here due to the aero wake off of that Mercedes.
And he
Fratters invalidates in the last corner, completely bottles it.
We see an improvement from Jigsaw.
No, down by 2,000ths of a second. CKS Dark Rider, though, jumps up to 6th, 30.231. Now the focus goes to Veloce and Extreme F1. Out of the final corner for Veloce, pops open the DRS down the straight. What can he do? At the line, it says it'll be at 129.892. That's good enough for 3rd. What about Extreme F1?
Really slow into 15. Looking decent. As the,
he improved.
I saw 130.028.
And with that, the session is over. Easy victory, though, for XRL Jigsaw for a pole. Herbago 2nd in the McLaren, 3rd Veloce in the Williams, 4th Extreme F1, 130.027, so close to breaking that barrier. XRL Gussie 5th with a 130.148, CKS Dark Rider 6th, 130.231, 7th Dave Ewart with a 130.370, 8th Constant Jet with a 130.530, 9th Plastic Love 131.504, just never got a proper lap together, and Fratters, who didn't get a lap together at all. So, very interesting. The top 8 all separated by less than a second at the moment.
We're about to have a really tight back. And that could last for a pretty long time since, as I said earlier, this track is really forgiving with lots of run-off space. So even if you qualified in the middle of the pack, if you keep your nose out of trouble enough, we could possibly see everyone at the checkered flag.
Well, darkening clouds have settled over the circuit. This means that's going to be a lot darker on the track, a lot harder for the tires to get up to speed now in the race itself. But big things to consider. Again, we know 3 of our top stars will be starting on slightly worn mediums. The other 7 will be starting on softs, including your pole sitter for today's event. This could end up getting very interesting, though. Real quickly, as I go ahead and pull up the race director, just to look real quickly. Herbago starting 2nd in the McLaren. He'll be starting on medium rubber. 4th place starter, Extreme F1. He'll be starting on medium rubber. CKS Dark Rider in the Ferrari. He also will be starting on medium rubber. So that could get interesting. As you look farther down the grid, though, everyone from 11th to 18th starting on mediums. Also, exits the spot, missed qualifying, so he will automatically have to start dead last in 18th position. It's going to be really difficult for him to kind of get a good idea as to how to set the car up. All right, so real quickly before we get too far into the race itself, though, I want to go ahead and look over the standings as they are right now. After 2 races in the season, this is what it looks like in the Constructors Championship. Mercedes and Aston Martin are tied at the bottom of the grid with 1 point each. Red Bull and Alpine are tied for 7th with 6 points each. Alfa Romeo is 6th with 16 points. There's a tie for 4th in the Manufacturers Championship, 27 points each for AlphaTauri and Haas. 3rd is Ferrari with 31 points. 2nd is McLaren with 44. 1st is Williams with 49. In the Drivers' Championship, 18th is Boothby 116 with a single point. He is in a tie with Snake and TF Shark for 16th. 15th is XR Flavor with 2 points thus far. 14th is AK Herbie 53. He has 4 points, and that has brought him into a tie for 13th with Wild Nissan GTR. There's a tie for 11th, Constant Jet 1141 and Ocean Lion 08. Both have 6 points each. 10th is CSK Darkrider. He has 8 points. 9th is Mantic Meerkat. He has 11. There's a tie for 7th between Davey R23 and JR Footballer 26. There is another tie for 5th between XR Gussie and PR UFC with 15 points each. 4th is Schumacher SF7 with 19 points exactly. 3rd is Jigsaw with 21. 2nd, Herbago with 33. And right now, dominating on pace and having won last week, XR Veloce staying with 37 points at the moment. But again, only 2 races in the schedule. This point standings don't normally stabilize until after about 5 races into the season.
And from what I'm looking at in these standings, anyone.
Also, a little bit of a change. Collie Boy starting 12th in the Haas. It looks like he's considering swapping over to starting on soft tires instead of mediums.
Oh, I mean, with the actual weather right now, this is probably a good choice. Not gonna lie. Will we see some rain is something else.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Rain could really play a massive havoc in this. I remember, I think it was 2 seasons ago in X3 at this race here at France, we saw rain come with about 10 laps to go, and it caused kind of a scramble late in the event for people to jump onto intermediates. If rain happens, all tire strategy is out the window. You could choose to jump onto mediums or even hards if you're outside the top 10 and just try to stay on those tires until rain comes. But if the rain never comes, you're also potentially setting yourself up for a horrible, horrible time. At the same time, you know, if you throw on mediums or hards and rain happens to fall in the first 5 laps, well, you're going to be kicking yourself. Why didn't I start on soft rubber? Anyways, we're preparing to descend onto the racetrack itself now. Per usual, I'll be focused at the front, gradually moving down the grid. Peasy, if you see anything, go ahead, cut me off the moment something significant happens.
Yes, sir.
Alright. 18 cars taking to the track here at France. As we see the lights. 4 lights, 5 lights. And there's a jump. There's been 3, 4 cars jumping. The leader did not go at all at the line. It's been an absolute travesty.
Oh.
Jigsaw completely stalled. The Williams has gotten involved as well. This might end up being a total race restart because that was the most bot start I think I've ever seen in a X3 race this year.
This is absolute carnage. This does remind me of the race at Mugello in 2020, especially the restart.
They're gonna have to do a full lobby restart.
I saw cars moving down the straight, and
yeah, they're doing a lobby restart at this point.
I said this track does forgive a lot, but from what I've seen so far, this. Oh well.
Well, with that over, now we just have to wait. Well, it'll probably be a good 10 minutes until we get to the actual race start itself. exits the spot is claiming that his dog hit the go button. That seems ridiculous, but okay.
I wouldn't buy on that, but yet again.
So now we just kind of wait until we get the next run here. I'm still waiting on the invite to the restarted lobby at the moment. Oh, also, for those of you who care, keeping up with the entire gimmick of parody accounts, keeping you updated on really weird, minuscule things, if any of you are running parody accounts over if Jesus Christ is still in that tomb or not, well, shocking development. No, he is out now. So you might want to go ahead and update those parody accounts now before it gets too late. And you're behind the 8 ball on that.
As we're waiting for the lobby to be restarted, I'm gonna start another debate, a really old debate, but there is two FIA Grade 1s racetrack in France. There's the Circuit Paul Ricard and Magny-Cours. Do you really think racing would be better at Magny-Cours?
No, I think these cars are too big to put on any kind of decent show at Magny-Cours. Now, with that said, I think Magny-Cours is a much better racetrack than Paul Ricard. But Paul Ricard can be modified almost endlessly to make the circuit better suited for F1. Magny-Cours can't really make any adjustments on it without major changes. And even in the grand days of F1, you know, the 90s into 2000s, it was really hard and really rare to see any good racing there as it was. Nowadays, the cars are way too big, way too heavy, way too just everything. I don't think you could ever get a good run at Magny-Cours. Again, I think Magny-Cours is a better course, but like Brands Hatch before, I think F1 has completely outgrown it.
I was about to say kind of like Monaco, but really, I'm not gonna debate about should we keep Monaco or not.
My opinion on Monaco has always been thus. We've had it this long, let's not cut it. My biggest concern with Monaco, though, is that we're going to end up with the evolution in the regs that will make the cars physically impossible to navigate the last 3 corners there. That's honestly my biggest concern.
I mean, I'm also concerned about the... Well, it's supposed to be only a gimmick, but it started way back then. The concept of the Triple Crown. If Formula 1 doesn't go to Monaco anymore, the Triple Crown does not exist.
So, I have heard some people argue that the Triple Crown would just end up being replaced by having the F1 Championship, along with an Indy 500 and a 24 Hours of Le Mans victory instead.
Yeah, but in this sense, it's... I don't know, for me it's very stupid. I mean, in this case, you have to win 2 races, and then a whole championship. Where's the logic in that?
So, an element to that is when it comes to the Triple Crown in general, though. back in the 50s and 60s, it was a lot more common to see drivers who were very multidisciplined and multi-talented. You could jump from running NASCAR to European endurance, Formula One, IndyCar, Japanese Super GT. You could jump all over the country, and people did it all the time. But since about the 70s or 80s on, it's basically become a scenario that you have to hyper-focus on F1 if you even want to have a shot at the Triple Crown. Depending on how you look at that, changing the requirement from winning Monaco to winning the championship might not really change a whole lot. The only real randomizer that it puts into that means that Juan Pablo Montoya would not be eligible to win the Triple Crown. But irregardless, does it really change a lot? I'm not big on it, but that's mainly because I think Monaco is a actual very valid racetrack, simply because it is a challenge that you don't see anywhere else in the world, period. No other racing series puts on a show like what you see at Monaco, where passing is quite literally impossible, but at the same time, you can't be stupid. You always have to be aware on a street course is the infamous saying, and on Monaco, it's that times 10. Did you get the invite into the lobby, Peasy?
Yes, I do.
Spectator up then. Okay, cool. Yeah. Man, I think that change would be but regardless, a big other thing to consider though, you're never going to win at Monaco unless you have pouring rain throughout the entire event and drivers can't control their cars, like in '96.
Yeah, but that is.
Or you're in one of the top 3 teams.
That is if you don't get a good qualifying. Because
yeah, that's the thing. You're only ever gonna get.
This is all what's about. This is what's all about Monaco. Well, I mean, like a regular F1 race, I'd say 1 times out of 2 you watch the qualifications, but then you're here for the race. Monaco, I believe it's the other way around. You're here for the qualifications, but in the end, it's 95% of the time it's the pole sitter that gets the W if anything runs smooth as butter.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also why I do hold Monaco at probably dear in my heart, because yeah, it's the race. It is the Formula 1 race you watch on Saturday, not Sunday.
I mean, I most definitely have watched Monaco on Sunday, but
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I see what you mean. Never mind. Okay, I get it. For a moment, you caught me off guard there. Now I realize what you're getting at. No, I agree. I want Monaco to stay on the schedule. My biggest concern, and I do think, and again, this is just some random American guy trying to talk to an entire principality where every European billionaire and their brother hides all their money, but I do think the city could probably make some slight accommodations to make the race better, and I think the FIA could probably make some changes to the track as well. You need to widen the last corner coming out of Monaco. The final corner is so god-awfully narrow and is so hyper-Pacific. Every single year we go there, and every single year that we go through a regulations change at all, I am more and more concerned that the cars will not be able to fit through that final corner. And then also, going into I believe it's the Nouvelle Chicane, coming right out of the tunnel, straighten that back up to the way it was in the early 80s and before. Having a big runoff, really slow, clunky runoff chicane destroys any momentum and takes away the only potential overtaking opportunity there. It's honestly ridiculous how stupid that chicane is. But again, that's just me though. I like Monaco a lot. It's one of 2 races, the other being Montreal, that even if F1's having a horrible season, I will go out of my way to watch.
I mean, I went on my way to watch the Australian Grand Prix last weekend.
Well, I did also, but that's because Ferrari's doing good, so...
That is not only because Ferrari's doing good.
Alright, here we are. Now we're beginning to get underway for the second attempt at this race. We're not going to go green until about 11:16, though. This is going to be a really, really late start and a late finish for this event, to say the least.
So 27 laps, cloudy weather, as what I can see. So yet again, should we expect some rain?
Also, because of this, this means that everyone who will be starting on that soft tire compound now will be starting on fresh softs instead of worn softs. So,
And those who did Q2 on mediums will stay on mediums or also switch to softs?
yeah, now they'll still be on mediums, but the circumstance for them is that now they have an extra lap or two of life in those cars as well. So,
Oh, no more clouds above the track, so this is looking a little bit better in terms of weather.
apparently this is not the only one, though. Apparently X1 is having similar issues with getting their lobby going underway. So real quickly, as we look at the race director as it stands right now, things have changed again, though, because of this. Now, looking outside of the top 10, Schumacher in 11th. Now, he is starting on hard tire compounds. Softs now for Collie Boy in 12th. 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, though, all starting on medium. So this could get really interesting really quickly here.
So back of the field trying to play it long, while the leaders are scrapping and ruining their soft compound.
Interesting thing is that Wild Nissan, when we had invited him in after the end of Q1, he said that he was going to go hard to soft or soft to hards. That doesn't seem to be the strategy for him anymore. He's on mediums now, so interesting circumstance there.
So now my question
Now
is
I have to wonder, was he lying to us maybe, so that way if anyone was listening in, they'd be caught off guard by what his actual tire strategy is going to be?
I'm not gonna pretend it's looking like another tire scandal, but
Well, one thing we don't have to pretend about, though, is that we're going to go again. This will be our second attempt at getting this race underway. 15 minutes behind the 8 ball at this point, but France, we could still end up making up time because we could go green flag to flag here. It's happened in realistic. Maybe it could happen in X3 as we prepare to load onto the circuit one more time. 18 cars on the track as we see the lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Lights out, away we go! Jigsaw with an outstanding jump. Herbago just not able to keep up. Veloce automatically as well. Dragged him, contact between the Williams and the McLaren. Going down to turn 1, the braking zone. They're 4 wide almost behind.
3 wide down
Costa
there.
just gonna spear it on the outside, and TK's Dark Riders had an instance.
JR football is around at the exit of 2.
He's back underway. Dave Ewart fighting with the Alpine, and that's Extreme F1. Big twitch, and now he's going to fall under threat from Constant Jet. Jet tries to make it happen. Extreme now falls to 7th. Another twitch. He's offline, not making this work at all. Everyone's just blistering by him right now. Dave Ewart gets a time penalty for cutting the course. And now he gets run off the course by Plastic Glove.
Everyone has to be careful around AK Herbie he doesn't have his front wing anymore.
It's still really aggressive here. Dave Ewart, Fratters right on top of each other with Extreme F1 trying to figure out a way back up. Now he dives to the inside of the Haas. Contact! Alpine spins off circuit. No damage to the wing as far as I can tell, as Schumacher has overtaken Dark Rider and exits the spot, overtakes Wild Nissan for 13th.
Aggressive did win around.
So Jigsaw has already opened up a 1.1 second gap on the rest of the field, although Herbago does close that in a bit in the braking zones of turns 1 and 2. But right now, it looks like Jigsaw can walk off with this. The thing is, Jigsaw needs to avoid having a spin like what happened to him twice, well, 3 times actually, last week at Imola. JR Footballer and Herbie both in pit lane to repair the damage to their cars on that first lap. But already gaps starting to form across most of the grid right now. There is this little fight here though. Snake right behind Collie Boy, not too far behind Dark Rider, who's behind Schumacher. Schumacher on the hard tires kind of leading a train of cars at the moment. And when DRS engages, I think Schumacher might be in a rough position because he's not going to get away on those hards. Herbago's closed the gap on the leader down to about 2/3 of a second, somewhere in that range. But Jigsaw seems to have a setup that's really good in a straight line. Herbago is top of the time sheets now, 133.460.
I saw it for a fraction of a second. Jigsaw did post the fastest lap before, just right before Herbago took it. Both riders wide in the exit 2, trying to follow Plastic Glove in the sector 1.
And exits the spot, has just overtaken Snake on the main straight without DRS. It was always great to see a pure driver skill overtake and not something that's just a DRS walk by. So great job on his part there. Dave Ewart putting pressure on Fratters, but Fratters has DRS he'll use as a defense. The Mercedes, though, not able to get close enough to the Aston Martin to make a move into the chicane. In fact, he has to back way off. He's way offline. Fratters gets a time penalty because of that. And Constant Jet has had a spin in the chicane. At the front, Jigsaw and Herbago have kind of opened up a gap on the rest of the field for the moment. Top 3 drivers all starting on medium compound rubber, so they can go a lot farther than the people behind. Fratters continuing to put... Go ahead.
Plastic Glove just backing Fratters into Dave Ewart, putting himself in a really difficult situation right here.
Oh, did the Haas damage his wing?
I believe his front wing is still intact, but that was really close.
All right, Fratters takes a look to the inside going into 1, but can't make it work. But in the process, he misses the corner. Dave makes a lunge, has to back out. Now Fratters makes a lunge out of 2. And as these 3 are fighting, it runs the risk of letting the Ferraris behind close in. Oh god, everyone, all three of them are just making a bad corner navigation after bad corner navigation. No one seems to be able to put these laps together properly. Down the straight though, this time Fratters has a run on Plastic Glove. Dave has a run on both of them. Dave can't get by Plastic Glove, but Fratters did. And now the Haas is behind the Aston Martin, gonna make it a drag race on the second back straightaway.
Yeah, the ERS.
And he'll get him on the inside.
Now chasing Fratters. Oh, he's looking
now
inside.
fighting Fratters. Tighter line, but that meant that Plastic Glove had more acceleration after the apex, so he was able to pull ahead.
He's lurking inside. Fratters closes the door on him.
Ooh, Aston Martin slides sideways into it and knocks both of them offline. That will compromise Plastic Glove, flying horribly. Now here comes CKS Dark Rider on him.
He is looking inside. Will he commit? No, he backs out.
Can't commit. Exits the spot, gets by Schumacher behind. The hard tires for Schumacher just not working out yet. Spin, Nissan in the Red Bull, out of 14th position.
Oh, Ewart on the inside.
Fratters on the outside. Who has DRS? That's the real question in this fight.
It's the off. Around the outside.
And while they're fighting, it's dragging Plastic Glove and CK's Dark Rider up into the fray. Dark Rider thought of making a move on the Aston, couldn't commit. Now exits the spot, is right behind him. So exits the spot, goes from missing qualifying to now fighting for 8th position, and we're not even done with the 5th lap of this race. Collie Boy out dragging Snake for 11th right now. He'll get it.
Oh, contact! It takes a spot, hit the back of CKS Dark Rider. I saw a piece of carbon fiber flew on the exit of 11.
And it does look like there's wing damage to exit the spot machine. Now Schumacher trying to navigate around, hit the Alpine.
Backs off, the Alpine goes in the pit lane.
At the front, Herbago hanging just a little bit more than half a second behind Jigsaw. And Veloce has fallen off 3.7 seconds off of your current top two. Gusty also kind of in no man's land. Dave Ewart leads Fratters right now, both 5th and 6th and 7th, all on soft rubber. Dave and Fratters opening a bit of a gap on Plastic Glove, as Plastic Glove has to deal with CKS Dark Rider behind him.
Fratters racked up another penalty for cutting the track a little bit too much. But Dave Ewart is really trying to put a gap between him and the Mercedes behind.
Snake, DRS on Collie Boy, Extreme F1 DRS on both of them. Side by side for 10th position, going into the braking zone. The answer, the Haas maintains it for the moment.
Extreme F1 trying to... Ooh. Snake right one on the exit. Wolf for fate position to the Alpine. Now, will Extreme F1
Dark Rider right behind Plastic.
He is looking inside, but a little too far back. And he is confident in what he can do. He has the better line, as he ended up in the gearbox of Haas in the Apex of 12.
This could work out well for him because he should get DRS on the following straight. Snake, though, in 13th is the wild card. Up ahead, Dark Rider and Plastic Glove having a drag race of their own down the straightaway as well for 7th. This time, Dark Rider is going to commit, run the Aston Martin a little bit wide, and the Aston Martin says, all right, fine, I'll just be faster in turn 2. They're still side by side for 7th.
Oh, Ferrari forcing the Aston Martin out wide.
Still, the fight for 10th continues. Extreme F1 has the position. Call Boy in 11th has DRS, but is not fast enough on the backstretch this time to make anything of it. Oh, here comes Snake on the Haas. Couldn't make it stick, though. CKS Dark Rider making a dive on Fratters, make contact, ends up running off circuit just a bit. Is there wing damage? Oh, and Plastic Glove spins right in front of the Ferrari, and the Alpine runs into him. Now the Haas runs into him. Multi-car accident. Everyone's going to get away okay. Well, I say okay, but there's going to be a lot of people having to pit. Dave Ewart pits now to repair damage. Fratters is pitting as well. Schumacher has to pit to repair damage. Extreme F1 has to pit to repair damage. Boy has to pit to repair damage. So a spin by one driver in the middle of the field absolutely destroys the strategy for a bunch of drivers. So much action going on pit road all of a sudden.
The only one that profited of the situation is CKS Dark Rider, as he leapfrogged everyone and escaping the Aston Martin spinning.
Yeah, Dark Rider now up into the 5th position. Shockingly, despite that being a multi-car incident, not even a local yellow thrown for that. And that in turn means that all those drivers involved in that are now in a horrible position going forward. Dave Ewar has had a spin coming out of turn 2. Actually, it looks more like it spun out of 1 and then cut across the track in 2. Now we'll put him under threat from Extreme F1. But of everyone who just had to pit, Fratters in 9th. He now has fresh medium rubber, and everyone ahead of him has warm medium or worn softs. This also has really worked out for the Red Bulls, because now they're up in 7th and 8th. Schumacher drag race and overtake Boy with some DRS assists, so he gets back up into 13th. Gusty pitting out 4th. He wants off those soft tires now. I imagine you might consider just throwing on hards to go to the end, because if we didn't have a yellow flag for that instant there, I don't think we're going to have a yellow flag all day today.
Do not underestimate the capacity of the game to do dumb stuff.
This is true. Alright, so 12th, 13th, 14th all fighting, and Dave Ewart farther back is fighting with Extreme F1 for 15th. Basically everyone back here are just trying to rush to get back into the top 10. All of their strategies completely upended due to that little incident. Schumacher barreling down on AK Herbie with some DRS. He'll take the position. The Aston Martin runs right into the rear of the Ferrari going into 1. Schumacher is now up into 12th, and that's 3.6 seconds until he gets to Constant Jet in 11th. This could work out acceptably for the Ferrari, because this means a lot of time in clean air for him. Meanwhile, at the front of the grid, Herbago continues to hang out within a second of Jigsaw, and he uses the DRS to stay up with him, but he just does not seem to have the pace or the speed or anything really to properly fight with the lead AlphaTauri.
Or maybe he is trying to just stay with him and then either try the undercut or the overcut. He's probably waiting for Jigsaw to pit and then pit afterwards. This might be a possibility, since the aerodynamic wake behind those cars are pretty terrible compared to those of the new regulations.
Actually, I gotta hear something. I think it was Kevin Magnussen who said it. Oh, big twitch from Herbago! His second place spins! And with that in mind, this will let Veloce overtake him. Now Veloce goes up in the second. Herbago falls to 3rd. Still, 3rd place has, at this moment, about 20 seconds. We'll see that number drop real quickly. And Schumacher has just set the fastest lap on the sauce, so good job on him. But Herbago still has the better part of 9 seconds over Dark Rider in 4th. But yeah, now with that spin, Veloce goes up into 2nd. Veloce has a time penalty, and he's still 8 seconds off of Jigsaw. I think that may have just given Jigsaw the race win by default, assuming that Jigsaw doesn't spin on his own.
or doesn't get the strategy botched. That could happen.
Yeah, this is true. We've seen before when drivers, you know, they miss pit lane entry just after the safety car comes out, and they end up getting stuck at the front of the grid, needing to change tires when everyone behind them is on fresh already. We've seen that happen before and keep people out of good runs. A yellow flag, final
sector
sector.
3.
That's Nissan.
Oh,
Way off
Golly
circuit.
boy spinning in the Memorial chicane.
Haas back underway, but this now means that Plastic Glove can close up on him. Fratters now working on Wild Nissan for 8th. A little bit of contact, wing-to-wheel contact, but I think the Mercedes got away with it okay. That Red Bull's not looking very happy right now. He may have burned up more of those tires than he wanted to, but he's staying out on track for at least another lap. Ratter's still behind, and X wants to make advantage of it. X wants to give it to him in the hard tire compound, so he'll use DRS to keep in touch with this fight for a bit longer. Here comes Fratters, dives to the inside. Nissan puts up a half-hearted defense. Side by side, a little bit of contact in the corner, and he will slot in line ahead of X at the spot, so X will not be able to follow through to get by the Red Bull. Meanwhile, farther up, Gussie has Cup Flavor for 6th. Oh, Alpine, around, who is that?
That was Extreme F1.
Ah, shame. Alright, exits the spot, has DRS on Wild Nissan. It's a drag race, DRS drag race for 9th position. Nissan exits the spot. The answer going into the braking zone is going to be exits the spot. Veloce, pay now 2nd now. So he'll be the first of our lead group to pit. This will promote Herbago back into 2nd, but he's 11 seconds off the back of Jigsaw at this point in the event. Now Constant Jet is the one putting Wild Nissan under pressure. Soft tire compounds for the AlphaTauri versus the worn mediums of Nissan's Red Bull. Veloce is throwing hard rubber, so he's going to make this his only stop today. Now we see Nissan coming into the pit lane as just ahead, Fratters trying to hold off. X hits the spot. X has hard tires, Fratters medium, but X has DRS down the straight. He looks to the outside, side by side for position. Easy overtake using DRS going into 1. At this point in the event, all 18 drivers are still in the race. So great job there. Fratters holding on to the rear end of exits the spot. He has DRS, but just does not seem to be close enough to really do anything about it. Constant Jet has DRS on both of them and is closing in, but again, just not close enough to really do anything.
I believe Herbago will go to pit lane. Yes, he does.
Alright, Herbago now pitting out 2nd position. Jigsaw still on track. He has now put Extreme F1 a lap down.
Herbago is trying the undercut on Jigsaw. Jigsaw will pit at the end of his lap.
Spin. Extreme F1 has spun coming out of pit lane on cold rubber. Now luckily for him, there's absolutely no one around, so he'll be able to get away with it without issue. Here comes Snake. Snake is going to leapfrog up. Well, Snake and Veloce, because Veloce has just overtaken Snake, and Veloce on the hard tires now goes up into 2nd position, so the undercuts worked well enough for Veloce. Oh! Extreme F1 is out! Not only is he out, that's a full course safety car. Ah, we could have honestly gone the entire race without one. But now a full course safety car comes. This is perfect for Jigsaw because when he pits, he has a 30-second advantage over Veloce. He can jump onto whatever tires he wants.
We're at the halfway point of the race, so mediums would be...
He's already on mediums, and he needs to be on a different set of tires at some point in the race, though.
Ooh.
I think he throws on hards.
Might be too risky to put softs on.
Well, he doesn't have... I think he runs hards because if he throws hards on, he might be slower than the people around him for a bit. But they also will be on hards. He doesn't have time penalties. They do. I think Jigsaw can afford the slight hit to the pace.
He can probably also afford the fact to be probably behind Veloce and Snake.
Well, he's so far ahead, I don't think he will be behind them. No, Jigsaw's going with softs.
Ooh, this is getting interesting now.
That's a very high-risk strategy because we're barely past the halfway point of this race. We've not seen any evidence that the softs can run for a full 14 laps. Veloce came into the pits and he's just got dinged for speed in the pit lane. So everyone who was on the hards now seems like they want off of him.
He was probably thinking about.
I take that back. X hits the spot is staying on his hard tire compounds, and this will promote him up a bunch of positions. In fact, I think X is going to go up to second.
Mediums for Veloce, mediums for Gusty.
Dark Rider, still on the hard tires, but he's going to take those off upon a set of mediums
mediums
now.
for Rudders, mediums for Dark Rider.
Snake on softs. Flavor stays out because he had just put on soft, so Flavor now cycles up into 7th. Dave Ewart, they're going to put on a new set of mediums for him as well.
Only Herbie took a set of hard tires. If I'm correct.
Yeah, that's what it looks like because Nissan stayed out on the same set of hards, and then also, as did Exit the Spot. Jared Footballer had pitted as the yellow was coming out, and he already had the hards on. And right now, for him, his priority is going to be to catch the back of the grid before he considers pitting again. This is going to be a long safety car because Jigsaw is in Sector 3 and Footballer is still in Sector 1 just after the start-finish line. This is going to be a long safety car.
In the mind of Jigsaw, he was probably thinking about outrunning the field on the soft and try to preserve them near the end of the race.
I think that strategy might work out because X has a spot in second is on worn hard tires, Veloce in third is on fresh mediums, Snake is on fresh soft. So Snake, the guy who's on the most competitive tires compared to Jigsaw, will have to get by at least 2 people just to fight with Jigsaw. DRS takes 2 laps to kick in. Yeah, tire difference is going to be massive. Oh, X now is pitting, so now... No, that's Veloce, your leader pitting. No, I'm sorry, Veloce's not your leader. Veloce only took the lead because he pitted. So yeah, Veloce's pitting now, and he wants off the mediums, so what will he put on? This is going to drop him well down the grid, probably outside of the top 10, I think.
Calling for soft.
No, he's serving his time penalty.
And a new set.
Mediums.
New set of mediums.
Worn mediums. So he's probably, well, Veloce's entire race is now completely fallen apart because he's going to have to pit again. Those mediums are not going to last to the end of the race under any competitive circumstance. And he's now out of the points. So your points leader pretty much shot his race in the foot now.
Kind of weird for him to... Well, kind of weird that you cannot serve your time penalty and not change tires.
Indeed.
Because we've seen that 2020 Italian Grand Prix, Hamilton serving his 10-second penalty and not switching rubber.
Yeah. All right, so almost the entire field is caught up now. JR Footballer rushing right now, so we should be going green lap 16. So I guess it didn't take as long as we thought it would. So yeah, we should be going green lap 16 then, I think. So for Jigsaw, Snake, and to a lesser extent Flavor, the question is, can they make this soft rubber last to the end of their race?
Safety car in this lap.
What is Gusty doing? Gusty, for whatever reason, backed way off, opened up nearly a 2-second gap between himself and Herbago, and it's caused a lot of chaos behind. Constant Jet had speed because he was trying to warm up the tires. Everyone ahead slowed down. He had to run off circuit to not run into them. Don't know what Gusty was doing there, but it's definitely caused a bit of a weird domino effect throughout the rest of the grid. Alright, coming to the green flag, we know that X Hits the Spot has tires that will last him to the end. The question is, will he have pace to catch the Jigsaw when Jigsaw's tires fall off near the end of this? What about Snake in third? He is on fresh softs as well. He could be the wild card in this against Jigsaw, who started on the pole and has led every lap thus far today. Ooh, wow, not even a comparison. Jigsaw shoots out of the final corner like a rocket. Already a second gap over X hits the spot. No one seems to be really close to anybody till you get back there to Fratters and Flavor for sixth.
Rubago does have his nose in the gearbox of Snake.
Mediums versus softs, but the softs do have the advantage, but Herbago's been faster than Snake most of the day today. Oh, and now as I say that, Herbago into the wall, and he kills his car! Hits the inside wall, one of the very few walls you can actually hit. He hits it and destroys his machine.
Will that be another full course safety car? Doesn't look like it, weirdly enough.
And the man who's ran second for a good part of the day is now out of it. This promotes Snake. He is now in second. Exit spot now third. I think now Jigsaw has this race won, assuming he can maintain these tires to the end of this race. He's already nearly 3 seconds away from Snake. Exit spot is about 3 seconds out. And while X will have tires that will last to the end, I don't know if X is going to be able to make up the pace near the end of the race to do anything to Jigsaw on those worn softs that he'll have.
I mean, if X at the spot can stay within, I believe, 3 seconds of Snake, should be good for second place. Jigsaw posting the fastest lap, 1:31.335.
Collie Boy has to come into the pits to repair some damage to his machine. Fratters has gained the position over Flavor, and now CK's Dark Rider is trying to put the Red Bull in a little bit of pressure right now. Of everyone who, from now to the end of this race, I think Gusty, Fratters, and Dark Rider are on the best tire strat to race in. They'll have a good balance of pace and speed and tire life. But Gusty and Fratters have time penalties, and Dark Rider, he doesn't have time penalties, but he's back there in 7th right now. I think those guys could maybe fight for a podium against Snake, but I don't think they'll be able to really fight for the win just based on what... I think the fight for the win now is just basically between Jigsaw and X hits the spot at this point in the race. Unless we have another yellow. Another yellow could, you know, further mess things up. Schumacher, Dave, Ewart.
We almost had
Dave
it.
gets the position.
Yellow.
Oh, Herbie goes off circuit a little bit farther back as Veloce now closes in behind Schumacher. But Veloce on those very worn medium tires, we know he has to pit again.
DRS
There we
on.
are. DRS has officially been enabled. Plastic Love pitting out of the top 10 positions now. As Constant Jet has caught CK's Dark Rider, and Dark Rider's not been able to get by Flavor, so Flavor has kind of acted like a cap holding back Dark Rider and Constant Jet's momentum right now. But I think for Flavor, he's just right now trying to preserve his softs and make it to the end of this race with this soft rubber.
Really want to see how he'll do, having the pressure from both the Ferrari and the AlphaTauri right behind him.
Well, right now he's responding well enough because Dark Rider is there. Actually, Dark Rider just walks by, no issue. So Dark Rider now moves up into 6th position. And now he sets his sights on Fratters and Gusty ahead. Jigsaw's opened up a 5.5 second gap on Snake, but we knew that was going to happen because Jigsaw's had mad pace and great tires. The question is just between Jigsaw and X when it comes to tire life near the end of the race.
Castanjet overtakes Flavor. Really looks like both Red Bulls at this track are lacking pace compared to the rest of the field. as I believe, for most of what I saw, it was the Red Bull that held up the rest of the pack as Dave Ewart goes for a drag race against Red Bull X1 Flavor and goes past before turn 1.
And now Nissan has caught his teammate. Yeah, I don't think that's going to last very long because Schumacher behind is on a better set of tires compared to both of them, frankly.
And as we've seen in most of the races in X3, Schumacher is always looking like a man on a mission, so...
Now, well, right now, Schumacher's mission is to recover from that multi-car accident earlier. As exits the spot has just gotten by XRL Snake using some DRS down the back straightaway.
Schumacher has the inside entering the Memorial Chicane.
Fratters around!
Fratters around.
Oh wow, here comes the Aston Martin, gets held up by Fratters in the process. Herbie's not going to be happy with that. And now Schumacher's already gotten by Wild Nissan, and now he's putting his pressure on Flavor for the 8th spot. So now Snake runs behind, exits the spot. The gap between first and second at this point, though, 7.7 seconds. For exits the spot to have a shot at winning this race, he needs to start closing that gap by a rate of about a second a lap at this point. I don't know if that's going to happen because those softs are still going to be good for a few more circuits here. And when they fall off, they're not going to just die off a cliff. They're going to gradually give up pace. I think Jigsaw might be able to manage his tires to the end of this race. No guarantee, but I think he might be able to do it.
Schumacher made it stick into turn 1, takes 8th. Really difficult
Constant
position
jet.
for XRL Snake. In third, he is trying to stay with exit the spot, but his Yaris is almost empty. Exit the spot still have half of his, and even though he is on really worn off hard tires, he is really doing well. Only got the Mercedes.
And Gusty is there in 4th as well, and Gusty is in a better tire situation than either of the two drivers ahead. But I also think that Gusty might just be struggling with the aero wake enough that keeps him from properly fighting for these positions right now.
I mean, for both Snake and Gusty, their tires are both 6 laps old. Snake might be arriving at the end of the lifespan of his tires, while Gusty might still be in the middle of his mediums. So I wouldn't be surprised if Snake's pace kind of fades off and Gusty goes for the overtake, probably on lap, I'd say between lap 24 and 26.
Yeah, right now, Snake can use DRS off of that Alpine ahead of him to hold position, but if X starts opening the gap away from Snake and that DRS fades away, I think Gusty has the massive advantage over Snake around the entire circuit at that point.
And now the split between exit the spot and Snake and Gusty is, well, was almost the same as they were exiting turn 6. The Mercedes takes a spot back again.
Sheer DRS overtake, but the Alpine seems to be a little bit faster coming out of Montreal Chicane. He goes to the inside, wants to take the position back on merit.
He commits and takes it away again. Entering
But
T11.
while these three are fighting, it's letting Jigsaw open the gap more and more, despite the fact that the tires are starting to fall off for him.
Exit the spot, did open up a gap. And now
Snake's coming in. Snake may have taken wing damage.
either wing damage or probably thinking about a new set of tires.
Well, now this promotes Gusty up into the 3rd position, and he's going to use DRS to try close on the Alpine, so the fight for 2nd is not over. Jigsaw, your race leader, has just gotten a time penalty, 3 seconds worth. but that still give him 6 seconds in the positive over X hits the spot in second right now. And that pit lane stop for Snake will drop him out of the points all the way down to 13th position. Now, I will have soft tires and is likely going to try and go for fastest lap point, but still, that is not going to help him going forward for sure. Meanwhile, farther back, CKS Dark Rider has overtaken Constant Jet, and now Dark Rider is trying to close the 5-second gap between himself and Gusty in third. So, it looks like we could, no guarantee, but we could still see a Ferrari on the podium at the end of this race. It's going to be difficult for X hits the spot, though, to maintain second because he does not have a time penalty, although that could change between now and race in. But Gusty has DRS, and he has tires that will hold up and maintain pace over his own to the end of this event. Oh, Jigsaw, your race leader is pitting! So now this is turned to a fight for the win between X hits the spot and Gusty.
If X hits the spot can stay within 6 seconds of Gusty, he will get the win on comeback. But there's gonna be a long and grueling fight for the last
Veloce out! No yellow flags, not yet at least. Veloce way off circuit though. Trying to get Veloce into the party real quickly here to hear what happened.
Really went from what looked like a good race to probably the worst case scenario.
Jigsaw came out in 7th, and he has fresh, soft tires. He's going to be blistering through the field as fast as he can, but with only about 4.5 laps left, I think the win is now out of contention for Jigsaw. It's now between these two. Gusty and X hits the spot for the race victory. There's also CKS Dark Rider in 3rd, who has no time penalties. He's 5 seconds out. If these two end up running each other, end up piling up enough time penalties, Gusty gets another time penalty. But 1st and 2nd get enough time penalties, and those hard tires fall off enough, Dark Rider could still sneak a victory here. Yeah, everyone's good on fuel to race in. At the moment, Gusty only 22% DRS. X doesn't even really touch the DRS down the straights, at least not this time. He's running about 3 times that amount. Here comes Gusty to the inside. Easy overtake, though. So X just really not even trying to defend against X. X is just not trying to defend against Gusty right now. He's saying, okay, go ahead, run off. I can keep up with you and take the win back on time penalties, I'm guessing.
I mean, yeah, Gusty has 9 seconds of penalty. 3 laps. Really gonna be a mammoth job for Gusty with really somewhat old mediums. They're 10 laps old, and looks like the spot is fighting back. Yes, he is.
Side by side, back ahead. Easy DRS overtake. Dark Rider is still 3rd, but he's still hanging out more than 5 seconds away from this fight, so he is not factoring into this. At the moment, it's just a matter of, can X as the spot stay in the same zip code as Gusty as these tires go on? And while X is worse off with the tires, I think the time penalties mean that he is in position to walk off with this win. We thought that the soft tires, or at least we thought that Jigsaw was going to try and nurse the soft tires to the end of this race, but his decision not to has meant he is now 6th, and he is trying to just cut his way up through the grid as fast as he can right now, but he has to outrun time penalties to do so, because Schumacher is back there in 7th within 3 seconds of him. It's going to get really difficult for Jigsaw, because he's also about to come onto a DRS train between Constant Jet, Dark Rider, and Dave Ewar, as Jet now gets by Dark Rider.
Out of action. The closing stages of this race.
At the front once more. X leads, Gusty in second. This time Gusty will be the one with the DRS down the back straightaway. Fratter's paying further back in the grid. That takes him out of the fight for points. Snake is now back into the points paying positions.
Aggressive overtake by Jigsaw and Davey Ward in the exit of 7.
Now he focuses on his teammate Constant Jet and 4th place Dark Rider. Nissan, time penalty back there in 9th. Again, another fantastic race though for Constant Jet. Been running top 5 all day. Now he's fighting for a potential podium position. This has been outstanding for him. Dark Rider now gets a time penalty. So that means everyone from 2nd to 6th now has time penalties in some way. That really benefits Exits the Spot in a massive way going forward.
All he really needs to do now is not get a penalty himself.
All right, 2 laps to go at the line for Exits the Spot. Here comes Gusty. DRS overtake on the inside. Alpine just lets him have it for now. Jigsaw now by Dark Rider down the straight, and now Jigsaw puts the pressure on his teammate Constant Jet. Despite that extra pit stop, Christ alive, look at Jigsaw muscling his way by his teammate. Sheer driver ability overtake, he's already gone. Jigsaw is going to finish top 3 despite making an extra stop. Outstanding, easily the fastest guy all day today. Incredible.
Yeah, but this is not looking real good for him as the was empty at the end of the straightaway.
Actually, I think Jigsaw might, no guarantee, but he might take home 2nd because of all the time penalties that Gusty has.
From the looks of it, it's gonna be real tight, but it is possible for him to get it.
X runs behind Gusty right now as they're coming to the white flag. Will the Alpine try to get back by the Alfa Romeo? That's the question on everyone's mind. We know that X basically has this race won, assuming he doesn't crash in this final corner or spin out or anything. Does not make a serious attempt to close on him down the straight here to make an overtake. He might try on the back straightaway. White flag is out on the track. Further back, CKS Dark Rider closes in behind Constant Jet. Dark Rider on track for a potential 4th or 3rd place finish. Gusty now gets another time penalty in the lead. He now has 12 seconds worth of time penalties up front. Tire life doesn't mean crap if you're going to get that many penalties here.
Yeah, we're in this scenario where Gusty is trying a little too hard. So Exit the Spot fighting back on the outside, entering the Montreal chicane. Oh, this was really close on his diffuser. Claims back the lead.
Very nicely done. CKS Dark Rider has just done the exact same thing to Jigsaw to move himself back up into 4th. I'm sorry, Dark Rider did a Constant Jet, so Dark Rider now up into 4th. Will likely finish 3rd when you factor in Gusty's time penalties now. But Exits the Spot in the Alpine, not the fastest driver on the track, but the smartest, and was able to best utilize the track limits. Oh, he spins! He spins! Your race leader spins in the last sector of the last lap! This means it's gonna go to Jigsaw! Jigsaw is gonna come back out of nowhere and win! Holy... no way!
And when you were calling the race on Exit the Spot, oh, this is... I'm really gutted for the man. Maybe on comeback he's only 2nd.
Oh my goodness!
Have you ever...
Well, a couple of times, but every time you never believe it happens. Ah.
Well, that was a tremendous end of this race. I saw the Alpine. I saw the nose of the Alpine not looking where it should be looking at, and I knew that was it. I saw it before it was happening. Oh, I am absolutely gutted for the man. He had it in the bag.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe that. I still can't believe that happened. Oh my god.
It's a tough one to swallow.
Alright, well, coming in the party right now is your, in the end, second place finisher. X hits the spot. X, go ahead, include your audio. It looked like you had that one, and then what happened? Did the tires die or what?
No, I just caught the curb a little bit too much. I know that's the curb you gotta avoid, and I don't know, just got a little antsy.
I'm honestly gutted for you, man, because you had ran that race on strategy and everything perfectly. I was just saying, dude, he may not have been the fastest, but he's going to win this race on sheer thinking capability, and then that happens.
Yeah, it's tough. I was actually moving through the field really, really well from the back on the mediums, and then lap 4, at the end of lap 3, started lap 4, I had hit somebody like right before the pit. So I got wing damage, so I was like, okay, I have a decision to make, either pit for, 2 softs or do the hards. And I did the hards, and it worked out really well, but just made that one little mistake.
Well, in the end, you still finished second at least, so I guess it's not total loss. You did make it to the line, but it's absolute travesty, mate.
Yeah, gutted.
All right, well, thanks for being able to jump in and talk with us. We do want to talk to our race winner, XRL Jigsaw. Jigsaw started from the pole, dominated, yellow flag came out, you threw on softs, then you had to come in, get another set of softs, and somehow you still walk into the win. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
That safety car came out at the absolute wrong time, honestly. If it was maybe like 3 laps later, then sure, that's really perfect, but it came out, I thought, I'll try softs, hoping to get them to the end. I was hoping actually the safety car would stay out a little bit longer than it did, but X hits the spot had the perfect strategy, to be fair to him. He should have won that race, but he got unlucky at the end, and yeah, race win, happy days, but I do feel bad.
Yeah, maximum points for you as well, Jigsaw. Point for pole, point for fastest lap, and winning. So outstanding job on that part as well.
Thanks. Really, like I say, I'm really happy with the result. It's just a shame that X hits the spot spun there, because he should have won that race really on strategy alone. After pitting, when I saw that Gusty had time penalties, I thought, it's possible, but unlikely to win. But yeah, I'm very happy with the result, and makes up for last week.
Well, it's funny because yesterday in the realistic race, I was kind of mocking you and stuff about, how you were going to do, and you were all like, oh yeah, this is going to go well, I'm going to be fine. And I was like, nah, I really didn't have a whole lot of faith in you. And you even said, well, look, even if the realistic race goes wrong, you can make fun of me at X3. And you put on a great race yesterday, and now a win today, so yeah, forget making fun of you. If anything, you should make fun of me for not having confidence in you, I guess.
No worries, man, it's fine. I mean, just I'm starting to learn now to keep it a bit more consistent. Like today, only 3 seconds of penalties in a 50% race is bloody good for me. That last season, I was on 9-12 seconds. So yeah, it's all about consistency, I think.
Alright, well, congratulations on the victory, mate. Also, AlphaTauri, first and 7th place finish today. I think you guys might also have a shot for the manufacturer's title as well with this rate.
Maybe. I know there's some stuff happening. I know something happened for Constant on the last lap, so we'll see what happens there. But even if he stays in 7th, then it's a really good result for him as well. Getting some points for the team and moving up the table a bit more.
Alright. Well, great job, Jigsaw. Thanks for jumping in and celebrate your hard-earned and randomly earned victory, it seems, in the end there. Alright,
Yeah,
now
man.
we want to go ahead talk with our 3rd place finisher, CKS Dark Rider. Dark Rider, very interesting race from you. You kind of hung out in the top 10 all day, gradually making up positions, but never got to truly fight for the win. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Stressful.
the safety car happened at the wrong time for me too. I boxed for hards to just do the one stop, and then it was a case of go in the pits. Safety car happens, come out, go around, and come back straight for mediums again. So I was in a perfect situation as well because the mediums just work really well around here, I think. So I just gradually moved up through the field like I did, and then before I knew it, it was P3, and it was like, alright, I seen obviously Jigsaw pitted or whatever, so he was going to be coming back through, but I was like, this might actually pay off. I had constant battles with Jet, just pressuring me, just pushing me around that the entire time. The RS was so strong, you couldn't break it. So, great battles with him, but I did not expect this at all, to be honest.
Alright, well, still, podium finish. Great run for Ferrari, mate. Held out near the front all day as well, and with your very, very low amount of time penalties, you really maximize your final position, so great job, mate.
Thank you very much, man.
Alright, I want to talk to our first place finisher, Schumacher SF7. Schumacher, you started farther back in the grid, but you were making good hay through the field, and then you got caught up in that multi-car accident early on, and it seemed like the day come unhinged. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
So started P11 on hards, and from the first lap, I could keep up with medium runners quite easily. And then the car spun in front of me, and I tried to avoid it, got wing damage. And then it was a pretty, I'm not going to swear on stream, but it was a pretty crap situation going forward. And then I was playing catch up to my teammate and everyone else because I was out of sync on strategy and on track. So just happy to, I got no penalties, which helped me a lot, and just kept driving. But I'm not going to mention names, but there's some people in here who are not particularly fast. And if they know they've got a quicker driver behind them, not to get out of the way, but to give us a bit more room, because they almost took me out twice, and it's quite annoying. So, yeah, that's my day.
Alright, well, 3-4 finish for a Ferrari is making it look like it will be a great points day for you guys at the end of the day. So, good job on that.
Cheers.
Good job on doing that recovery as well, mate.
Cheers, man.
Alright, well, that's the talk with our top 4 finishers. Peasy, I'm going to admit, I've seen some interesting finishes before. That's probably like top 3 of everything I've seen in XRL as a whole. You don't ever expect that kind of thing to happen until it does.
Yeah, it's only when you least expect it that it happens.
Why can't real Formula 1 be that interesting here, though?
Insane.
I
Was
don't
the
know,
last lap crash at Japan one of them?
That sadly would be one of them, and the other would be the realistic race here at France just a few months ago as well, where the leader ran out of fuel coming to the line and still won because the other guy had too many time penalties. There's been a lot of interesting finishes, but yeah. But anyways, we should go ahead and wrap up the broadcast. In a week's time, the XRL series will be coming back, but for those of you who are still interested in watching a little more racing from France, now with the race I was put on today, I wouldn't blame you for being interested in that. In about an hour's time on the main channel, you can catch XRL Jigsaw as he'll be broadcasting the X2 race here. But until next time, I've been your host, Insane Later 13. I've been joined by local Frenchman, PZ French Fry Man. We look forward to seeing you in the future. I want to say have a good day and goodbye.